What's happening, mate?
Good man.
Oh, it's loud.
Obviously, this is a big fight week for you and the team and everyone. I'm curious, you know, some guys say, oh, I'm more nervous for other people's fights than my own. How are you feeling ahead of this weekend?
Look, I'm not nervous yet, like, you know, but I do get nervous more for when, you know, people close to me fight, or even just big fights in general. A big card like this as well fires me up. I get nervous fighting. I'm like, oh, you know, I get excited in a sense, and then obviously with the boys, you get that nervous, like, you know, because you can't control it. When I'm in the octagon, I can control everything. That's why I think a lot of us get more nervous watching our friends fight.
You're obviously starting to become known as one of the guys with the highest fight IQ in this sport. So I'm curious, is that a bit of a blessing or a curse? Because you could sort of break down a fight better than most and be like, okay, my guy's got it. Or is it a curse because you're like, oh, no, he's got it. He's up against it here and there.
Oh, man, like, yeah, you can break it down. But, I mean, when you know so much about your training partners and all that, you know what I mean? So you're always going to, there might be a bias there because you know so much more about them. You know what they're really good at, you're right? And they're like, all right, even if this guy has this problem, well, I know he can deal with it here because I've seen it. You know what I mean? So whether that is a bias, yeah, that's going to be. But, you know, I've already did a breakdown of the fight with the boys there, and I'm pretty confident in all of them. So I think it's going to be a clean sweep for them.
It was a great breakdown on, you know, your growing YouTube channel, which
yeah,
give a free plug for you there.
Check it out, check it out.
But I'm curious, for those who didn't get to see it yet, how do you break down this main event between Israel and Alex?
Oh man, like obviously Pereira is very dangerous. He's very powerful. Stylistically, again, like he's a very high level kickboxer. So you know, but I mean, I still feel like Izzy's, especially where Izzy is now. I think Izzy's evolved so much, and I believe he's still the same fighter, which is still incredible, right? Like he's one of the top kickboxers. So Pereira's still a killer, but Izzy's just going to be too good for him, I think. And you know, he's going to be aggressive. Pereira's definitely going to come forward, and I think he's pretty hittable as well because he relies on them hands. He invites you to throw and catches you coming in. You know, especially with them big left hooks, but. We all know Izzy's good at landing and not letting you land back, so that's just his style. So I don't think he can change that. And I know Izzy is definitely going to have that fight. You know, he's got the fight IQ, and he's definitely going to have the range control, and even in the pocket, I feel like he's going to be even more dangerous.
How much of an impact is the smaller gloves going to have on this one? If at all?
Yeah, they're always going to make a bit of a difference, but I think it's just. All the other little things that are going to, you know, there's going to be even more room. The octagon's quite big, and just, I don't know, kickboxing, you know, you're kickboxing, right? Like, so the engagement's going to be at a more kickboxing range. I feel like the MMA range is usually that little bit longer, and I think that's going to be the difference. While Pereira's trying to go into that kickboxing range, you know, I think Izzy's going to piece him up, and then when Pereira gets more aggressive, as he will, to really try and put them hands on, that's where I think he gets touched up even more.
A couple for yourself, on yourself. You know, this Islam fight, we saw a few tweets going around there about a contract needing to be signed. I don't know if you can break some news for us today or if you can't, but is that still the plan? February, Perth, Islam?
Of course that's the plan. You know, I want to go the champ, and I think I deserve it, and a lot of people agree, and I can't wait, mate. It's fired me right up, you know what I mean? Like, again, I know this... people look at a challenge, and yeah, it's a challenge. That's what excites me. You know what I mean? And but I mean, it's a challenge I know I'm ready for. You know, especially I'm already. Like, I already had just Craig Jones here today. Yesterday doing wrestling. Like, I'm keen, man. I'm bulking. I'm eating a lot of calories at the moment, so it is good. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm going to be pretty stacked fight night. So obviously we're looking at Perth. You know, we just got to get that signed and make that happen, and we will. So expect me and Islam to face off. In February in Australia, which is going to be huge.
I saw your interview with Submission Radio, which I recommend everyone go check out, and you said, I'm so fired up for this one, it feels like I wasn't even fired up for the ones that I've had before me. I'm curious, what moment do you think you'll have that sort of like, yes, this is what I was fired up for? Is it when he takes you down, you get back up? Is it the face-off? What moment do you think like this is it?
Oh man, like even right now I'm like that. But I mean, going in again, I'm preparing for him to take me down, right? So that's how I mentally prepare. I always do that. But I mean, there's so many layers before I even get there. You know, it's going to be hard to even get me down. You know, and get me exactly where he wants me. You know, flat on my back, it's very, very hard to do. I'm very good at scrambling, and again, these short legs are very hard to hold down, especially when I do so many weeks of just that. Like, let's be real, a lot of people are like, yeah, we know his game. You know, people are like, oh, you need time to do it. I'm already good at that. Now you're giving me like 2 camps to keep drilling this type of stuff. And again, like, I'm not saying, you know, people want to say he's well-rounded and things like that. We'll see if he's well-rounded, because I'm getting back to my feet, and let's see if his stand-up is up to what you know, supposedly people are trying to say. Well-rounded, we'll see, because it's going to be a stand-up, because I know I'm getting back to my feet.
Oh, so right next to Oscar. Obviously, you said you want your division to be a little more active to kind of, like the featherweight division, to determine an actual #1 contender. So if you go up to lightweight and they ask you, like, which matchups would you like to see, how would you matchmake that top featherweight division?
Well, there's a few of them that are just right there, eh? So it's I think someone's going to be a bit disappointed. You know, there's definitely that top 3, right? Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez, and Josh Emmett. And any one of those guys that miss out on something that happens there, like, you know what I mean, is going to be pretty disappointed. And if there's an interim belt thing, you know what I mean, obviously that person that misses out is going to be disappointed. So there's going to be, yeah, so we just got to see what happens. But I mean, I've made it clear that I want to be active and things like that. People keep questioning, like, oh, can you do 2 divisions? Well, I know for a fact one division can't get me busy enough. So why don't we, you know, focus on that? Like, let's be real. Like, I'm willing to do both belts at the same time, and I think I can do it, because I want to fight every 3 months, easy. I'm like, that's what I want to do. Why do you think I'm taking on? Yeah, I don't want to wait for this champ. I want to do it now. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm at my peak right now. I want to take advantage of that. Fuck some people up, so let's do it.
And obviously, if you go up to,
Excuse my French.
you win the lightweight title, now you have a whole nother division that you have to pay attention to. So obviously you said you're a fight fan, you watch these fights just as a fan and analytical, but now do you start have to paying attention to these lightweight fights a little more, like Dustin and Chandler on Saturday? You have that one, you'll probably watch that a little more invested in, correct?
Yeah, for sure. But I'm a fan of the sport. I love this sport, so I'm watching all the time anyway. And the way my brain works, I'm always breaking down fights. So no matter who's in there, I'm breaking down, seeing what they're doing. But now I think there's going to be that little bit more personal sort of, you know, not only breaking down what they're doing, there's going to be that touch where it's like, oh, I would do this, or yeah, he couldn't do that to me, which would be a regular thought. Them not being able to do things to me. So, but I mean, look, yeah, definitely I'm going to have that sort of look at these guys. But that's exciting, man, because there's the lightweight division is exciting. There's a lot of big names there. I think it's very competitive. It's very stacked. But it's definitely a division I know I can handle. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens.
Do you watch maybe Aljamain's fights like that too? Because he's talked a lot about going up to featherweight, especially if Merab, his teammate, earns that #1 contender spot at bantamweight.
Well, look, like I said, I'm a fan of the sport, so I watch. Do I think that's something? I haven't thought of that. You know, I know he's touched on it, but I didn't know how serious he is with that type of stuff. But, you know, from now, because you touched on it, I'll keep a closer eye.
And then last one for me, Saturday is going to be Frank Edgar's last fight in his MMA career. So were you a fan of Frankie before you joined the UFC, and do you have any memories of him inside and outside of the octagon?
Well, who's not a fan of Frankie Edgar, right? Like, he's a man, an absolute legend. I was talking to someone yesterday and saying, you know, that would have been a, you know, I want to not take out all the legends, that doesn't sound, but I want to fight all the legends, right? And obviously I want to win, but yeah, so take him out. But he's one of them, you know, because he's definitely a legend. He was a legend in featherweight division and multiple divisions. And yeah, so that was a fight that really just obviously didn't end up playing out how it was ever going to really work. But yeah, definitely a legend of the sport, and he's done some massive things. So yeah, very well deserved respect he has from everyone.
Alex over here. We spoke yesterday with Michael Chandler. I asked him about, you know, fighting for the title next. What does he think? What he thinks about you moving up? And his response was that Islam's first title defense needs to be against a true lightweight, referring to either him or Dustin Poirier. What's your response to that?
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like I like Chandler. You know, he's an exciting guy, and he does have that wrestling factor and things like that. But you know, like obviously you've got guys that have had shots at the titles and were pretty unsuccessful. So like, you know, it's time for new blood anyway. But again, they're exciting, and you know, I'm sure if they keep winning and things like that, like they're going to be right there again. But trust me, he's going to have big problems with me. So don't worry about that. He doesn't need a lightweight to have problems. Trust me, I do more than okay in that division.
You just spoke about Frank Yeager, a legend who retired, another legend who recently retired, Jose Aldo. A lot of people think he's the greatest featherweight of all time, but you beat him, and you also have this huge title defenses. You got 3 wins over Max Holloway. Like, I mean, do you think you're the greatest of all time in the division?
Well, I still look at Aldo as a GOAT of the featherweight division. Obviously, I'm still, planning to take that, right? Like, obviously, because I plan on I plan on winning, and I want to defend. So I'm planning on getting just as much defenses as him. And I think, especially when you look at the resume and who I fought, a lot of people are going to agree that I'm up there. So, but I mean, right now, to have that many defenses like he did, even though some of them were in a different promotion, but they still consider them defenses. Yeah, so I've got so much respect for Aldo. He's done massive things for the featherweight division. He brought it, he made it exciting, he made people watch this division, and so I've got nothing but respect for the guy. But yeah, I plan on breaking a lot of different types of records, and I'm already doing pretty good. So we'll see what happens. But I think you take this champ. That's a massive step, right?
And then we start talking about greatest, regardless of the division. To add on that, you're, besides being the #1 featherweight in the world, you're #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the world on most people's websites. Most people's websites have Israel Adesanya as #2. Any friendly rivalry between you guys, saying, "Hey, I'm the top guy"?
Not at all.
Like friendly.
No, not at all. To be honest, look, man, it's cool to have the pound for pound, but it doesn't change me. Like, I got it. I'm planning, I'll be more than happy for him, because I want him to go out there and kick ass, put him lights out, take that #1 pound for pound spot. I don't want bad things to happen to people so I can keep, I don't need bad things to happen to people for me to look good or be at the top. I plan on doing all that myself, and so does he. So I want him to go out there and kick ass. He takes that #1 spot after a big performance, which I plan on him doing. I'll be nothing but happy for him. You know what I mean? So that's how I am, and I'm sure he is as well. At the end of the day, it's just a thing, We can share it. I'll be pound for pound, he can, and every time we win, we just keep changing. Why not?
Yeah, I meant
pound for pound kings, right?
I meant it more as a joke, when we busting.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, we don't talk about it, because again, the only time I ever really talk about it is with you guys. It is cool. Obviously, what's cool about it is opportunities that come with it. Yeah, but one question we touched on it before. So we talk about, has there been obviously a champion that's defended so many times, a champ, and pound for pound #1? Have we had that?
I think DC might have been there for
pound for pound. He had pound for pound for #1.
Small portion of time. Yeah.
And that meant defense. Okay, sweet. Yep, a pound for pound with female as well. Yep. Okay, sweet. All right. I'm trying to think of what else do I need to do. All right.
Hey, you're
welterweight, bantamweight. I can cut some weight. Bantamweight, I'm coming. Aljo, don't worry, you just stay there. I'm coming down.
On that same
big one.
top.
I think the big one, Alex, is the Anderson Silva winning streak, 16 straight in the UFC, which you're getting pretty close to.
Yeah.
And Kamaru,
Kamaru
lost that at 15. So that would be a long-standing one.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like when people talk about streaks and all that, you hear people touch on, you're risking losing a streak and this and that. Is like, what? So you want me to just fight guys that I know is just going to be a walk in the park just so I can win a streak? That's piss weak, I think, anyway. You know what I mean? That's not how I am. That's not what's got me to where I am. You know what I mean? If I was like that, there's no way just a regular bloke from a small town was going to get to where I am. You know what I mean? There's no way. So that's just not my mindset. I want challenges. It excites me. As we touched on it before, and we're talking about this, how fired up I am, how motivated. I'm doing things that I wasn't doing even in the Max trilogy and things like that. That's meant to be a massive fight, and it was just like another camp. The people need to understand I'm always going to do what I need to do. I'm going to do it good. I'm always going to put effort because that's just who I am. But would I say I was excited? No, now I'm excited. I wasn't excited for that type of stuff. I was just sort of going through the motions. And going through the motions is full on for me because that's just how I am. But right now, it's just a whole nother level. It made me really think like, man, I wasn't even trying last camp. You know what I mean? Because effort I'm putting in right now, so early, again, it's fired me right up.
Just one more from you, Alex. mentioned Oscar about the tweets and stuff. What like prompted you to do that? Is there any portion in the back of your mind that thinks maybe they're going to try to take this away from you and go for a different direction with you in Australia, or do you have like certainties that this is going to be the fight?
You'll make it happen. Don't worry about that. So Australia needs a big fight. Me just defending would be great, but me going for that lightweight title, taking that lightweight title on, in Perth on home soil would be incredible, and that's exactly what I plan on doing. And yeah, I put the tweets out just to make sure it happens. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
After UFC 280, Conor McGregor was a little bit critical about the potential matchup between you and Islam. And then he kind of changed his tune and offered you some advice. There was a little bit of a back and forth there between you two. How did you take that?
Yeah, I didn't know, I didn't know how to take it. At the start, it seemed like a little bit of a shot at me, and I'm just like, I'm playful with it. Usually with everyone, I'm never really too serious with these types of things, and it was a little respectful back, which threw me off. I was like, oh no, I didn't expect that. I thought he was just going to be into me, but yeah, so I thought it was going to be fun. But again, I'm a chill dude. I don't trash talk, and I'm pretty easy going. You cool with me, I'm cool with you. That's just how I am. Well, he's like some of the stuff he said, there was some stuff that I didn't quite understand, but there was some things like obviously putting on size and all of that. Like I didn't have time to do that before. I only had 6 weeks coming off a broken hand and things like that, so I couldn't do that for the backup. But now I can. Now I can focus on that. I've got the dietitian on board. That's what I mean by taking things to a whole nother level. Once I stepped foot in that cage and had that face off, I was that fired up. Got home, like, let's get to work. Straight off the plane. Do you know how long that damn flight is? Got off there and the kids were at school. I was like, fuck this, I'm going to the gym. So I went to the gym, and that's just how I am. And I'm like, we've got the dietitian working on the plan. I've got strength and conditioning happening, and I'm eating over 4,000 calories a day, which is hard. I never thought I'd complain about eating too much food. So that's something that, I actually need to go eat straight after this. So I'll stop yapping so I can do that.
Alex, you mentioned the trilogy with...
Sorry, I was just going to follow up with, you offered to welcome him back.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a possibility, do you think,
look,
down the line?
Yeah, look, it is. Everyone's going to always talk about Conor and they just want this money fight and all that. Yeah, of course. Yeah, everyone's going to talk about that. Yeah, it's big. It's always massive. Any fight that you have with Conor's going to be massive. So we're not stupid. So we understand that. But there's obviously, I talked about things that I want to accomplish. That's, you got, featherweight goats and pound for pound, whatever it is, all that type of stuff. I've taken out every other, I've touched on this a few times, I've taken out every other featherweight champion except for him. So, to go up there, he can't fight at featherweight, but he'll fight at lightweight. And, there could be an opportunity there and a massive fight to happen. And sort of, even though I feel like I'm on my way of staking my claim as a featherweight guy, you go out there and take out every other champion, I don't think you need to do much more than that.
You mentioned a lot of stuff in this presser about weight and your issues with weight. You're eating a lot now to come up.
I wouldn't say an issue, but yeah.
Famously, you used to weigh a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Aljamain, right before you, was talking about how after his fight, he kind of seems to get a bit of a mental disorder a little bit and eats a lot, even though he knows he shouldn't be. Do you have any issues with, overeating, eating disorders, anything with your...
That's something I used to do, I'll be honest. So, if I give him advice, try not to do that. But I think you will eventually change that, because it's even obviously you said that it's on your mind. So it used to be for me, and then all of a sudden now, even though I know I can, I still I'm going to go pick out, and then I'm still like, yeah, that's enough. So my funny thing is, it took me about 10 bloody years for my stomach to finally shrink somewhere from when I was 97 kg, and now I've got to try and force more in, which is a little harder, because it never used to be that hard. I used to go through camps hungry, always hungry, but now obviously now I'm all full from what I'm doing. But you end up training your body to sort of be able to shrink the stomach, right? It took me 10 years, but I've eventually got it there, and mentally prepared for that. And then it was pretty easy, especially when you got the right nutritionist on board, getting the right foods in there, you'll be surprised how much you can eat. So it's not too bad. But if I could give him advice, I go, that'll change.
And is there any concern for you maybe going back down to 45 after this trip into the 55 realm?
No, not really. I think it's just going to have to be a cleaner diet. Look, I can do it pretty easily with the water, and you know, I hold maybe a little more fat. Than I could get rid of a little more fat and a little bit more water if I have to for featherweight. So it just means I'm just going to be a lot leaner and more powerful. So that's what I mean. I'm talking about being fired up about this, and people like, oh, you know, you're talking about winning streaks, and you know, you're putting all this stuff on the line. I'm going, again, that shit gets me out of bed, and the fighter I'm going to be because of challenges like this, you know what I mean? The featherweight division has no chance.
Hey, Alex, right corner back here. Quick question for you. Speaking of when you were heavier, what influence did your time in the South Coast Rugby League, playing forward, how did that shape what you bring to the fight game?
Oh man, like it's obviously a contact sport. That's always going to be there. But I mean, there's especially for a position I'm in right now, right? I'm for going. Everyone's trying to sit there and talk about size thing. I was like, I play front row. Like one thing that I can tell you right now to answer your question exactly, and then touch on that is, I've always been undersized. I've been a front row, which is your heavyweight division. What you see, that's what a front row is meant to look like. That's who I was always up against, and trust me, I held my own. I was one of the best in my area, in our division, and you know, country rugby league and all that type of stuff. So that shows you that, yeah, I've been undersized and I've been underrated, and I've been the underdog plenty of times, and I overcome it every single time. So I'm loving that people are going to, there's a little bit of doubt, and they're like, oh, this is a challenge. I'm like, oh, I can't wait, because you're going to see a whole new skill set that I haven't really had to focus on. Because getting back to my feet has never been a problem for me, because I do that with ease. That's why you see, even when people do take me down, I don't train for that too much, because I know I'm going to get back up to my feet. If people will say, oh yeah, he's been taken down, I go, just watch that carefully, watch how long I'm held down for. And now I've got a full camp of bulking up and just training that sort of stuff. It's just going to be a stand-up fight, mark my words.
Alex, looking at your goal setting, it just seemed like it worked out perfectly in terms of the way you beat Max that last time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure you could have fully committed to changing divisions if it was just such a one-sided fight. Do you feel that way? It was just everything, it seemed like, went the way exactly you planned.
Yeah, man, it did. Like, again, there's still camps. When I tell you, like, I might not be as fired up as I am now, there's still good camps, you know what I mean? We've got a good team around us that, you know, that we study fights, what we think is going to happen, and then, you know, I'm the type of guy that will execute a game plan to a T. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't even have to make an adjustment, because I just stuck to what we thought would work. It worked well, and I kept going. Even with a broken hand, I was able to keep doing that. But yeah, man, that was a perfect fight. That needed to happen. And that touches on to people like, you know, why you do this? Why did I need to do the third Max fight? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's still people doing it. But again, I was 2-0 against the guy. I didn't really have to do it, but I wanted to do it because of that second fight. Because of people doing this, they're like, oh, I don't do that because I know it's going to put me in a better position. And I know I'm ready. And I know that was the biggest challenge in my division anyway. So let's just do it, because I love a challenge. Bring it on.
Not to compare Brian and Islam, but, you know, there's been, even Islam went back to the height issue, or, you know, but it's funny, people are going to doubt you, but, you know, to me, Brian is world class.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best in the across the globe, and you were able to overcome that. And he had you in some pretty precarious positions. It just seems like people can doubt you all they want, but it seems like you're going to give Islam who knows how to call this thing, but a very tough fight.
No, 100%. That's exactly right. Like, I fight for every damn position, for a millimeter, not an inch, a millimeter, no matter where I am. Like, you need to literally kill me, or like, you know, you need to put me right out. And I'll be honest, Brian was close. But again, it was just, all I needed was that little bit, you know what I mean? And then his arm gassed. My breath held on, his arms gassed. And that's just the type of guy I am, no matter how deep it was. And again, I wasn't working takedown defense and all that. And the way that all planned out, the way he like caught the kick, went down, as I was getting up, he's jumped me straight on, was incredible. Like, I don't think you will ever see that timing or that ever happen again. And if it does, you won't see the guy get out, I guarantee you, unless it's me. But yeah, man, it's you were touching on something else there that, oh yeah, the small thing. Like, you know, again, I've been undersized my whole life. I love Korean Zombie. Korean Zombie, it's like you'll find photos of him going, he's very small. Look what happened. I think everyone's probably said that to me. Look what happened. So he's just going to be another guy. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? Again, is it a challenge? Yeah, there's some things I need to focus on, but that's all I need to focus on. And it's something I'm very good at. So he's going to have to worry about a lot more other things because, again, let's see how well-rounded it is because it's going to be up on the feet and he's going to have to deal with my footwork, my looks. This little guy will look pretty big once he starts puzzling you in there. Trust me.
Hey, Alex, over here. I feel like you're the epitome of the quote, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Like when you were coming up, you weren't the most popular, and now you're the champ, and you're the #1 pound for pound. So how'd you really, or what's your perspective of going from, you know, obviously from here all the way from there, just through just really beating it down and putting in the grind and the hard work?
Oh, man, I think I got all that question. But with what you were saying there, like obviously it's hard work beats talent all the time. Even a talented guy that works pretty hard, you get someone that works hard enough, even with a guy that works hard, you will still take them out. You know what I mean? I'm that guy. Like I'm telling you, I've always been, you know, strong, I guess. I wouldn't say I was athletically gifted. I probably always had some things that were maybe special, you know, like resilience and all that type of stuff. But that's what I'll touch on. From all that hard work and fighting for everything, even when I didn't have the skill I did now, you know what I mean? And just being resilient, durable, and just never give up attitude. And you learn a lot doing that. You learn a lot about yourself, and you make yourself strong, you know, in many, many ways, mentally and physically.
Yeah, for sure. And just speak about real quick the power of now. You know, I always hear you say, you know, now is the time. I'm in my prime now. You hear a lot of people saying, well, you know, one day I'll do this and, you know, one day I'll do that. But just speak about how you feel just about the power of right now.
Right now, exactly right. Right now, even when I had a broken hand and I needed to be back up when people think you're mad, but yeah, I need to do that right now because I can't wait. I don't want to wait. If I wait, someone else gets in front and then I've got to go for champ. Maybe mid next year, maybe even later. I can't have that. I want it now. You know what I mean? I'm at my best right now. So I'll put myself in that position like I did and things will work out. Again, nothing's confirmed, but it'll work out.
Thank you.
All good? Thank you. Champ, coming.
Yeah.